Oh my God. It's Monday night again. And if you're here, you are here to get your live dose of real estate reality. Thanks so much for being here. My name is Jacqueline. I'm here in northern New Jersey, and we talk about all things real estate. And we got some good stuff to talk about because it looks like home sellers are starting to realize buyers aren't willing to pay these astronomical home prices, and sellers are starting to slash those prices. So we got a lot to unpack tonight. And I am so super excited to bring on to the show my good friend, Rebecca Valera from Dallas, Fort Worth. Hello.
I thought the music was still going.
It's okay. We can dance. We can do whatever we want. Whatever the heck we want.
This is my hand dance. I can't really see the rest of me.
Awesome. How are you, my dear? How's life in Texas?
Life in Texas is rainy right now.
I know you were saying that before. Is it really like you said? It's like constant rain these days.
Yeah, every day there's a chance of rain. Today was 40%. It did rain. So, if you're traveling into Dallas or Houston, I feel like almost the whole state's been wet for a good while.
God,
it's very unusual. It's not normal, really. We're usually blazing hot right now.
Yeah. And what's the temperature there?
In the 80s, 84, 85. It's usually like 90 to 100.
Yeah, that's cool for you guys in the 80s. Oh my gosh.
But it's still kind of nasty because of all the humidity from the rain right before.
Yeah. But I hate the rain.
It's like Houston. It's so humid because they're so close to the coast there.
Yeah. Well, that's like here in Jersey too. We have a lot of the East Coast. We get a lot of humidity, and it's just look. I love summer. Don't get me wrong, but the humidity, no, go away. And then I get the crazy hair. It's just, no, thank you. No, thank you.
Sunshine and pool days. That's what I'm ready for.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. Every time the temp the past couple of days getting like in the 80s, I'm like, I got to get to the beach. I just need to go to the beach. So, Miss Rebecca saw the articles, and I'm going to put those up right now. Put the first one up from Fortune about the inventory. Inventory is rising, but buyers they're holding back, right? And it's a good thing, but let's see. Okay, here we go. So we have here the housing market is finally seeing more inventory, but buyers aren't showing up as a cold reality is settling down. The U.S. housing market, long crippled by an inventory drought, is finally starting to see listings rise. But now in many places, the buyers just aren't showing up. Sellers are grappling with the fact that higher for longer rates are choking off demand during what's typically the key season for the market. And more of those owners are cutting asking prices than any time. Than any time since November 2022 as inventory grows stale. This is according to Redfin. I just wanted to go down a little bit here. They said, okay, coming into this year, the prospects of rate cuts by the Federal Reserve stirred up some optimism for a housing market that had just emerged from its worst year of sales of previously owned homes in nearly 3 decades, but the economy continued to roar on, diminishing hopes for interest rate cuts anytime soon. Without rate cuts, a cold reality is settling down on the housing market. Buyers are getting very little, if any, relief from high borrowing costs. The average rate on a 30-year mortgage has hovered near 7% since the middle of April, and prices have continued to climb higher. In the 4 weeks ended May 26, the median sale price was up 4.3% from a year earlier to a record $390,613, according to Redfin. So it goes into here, like what's going on across the country. So your state was brought up in here, Rebecca, and we'll touch on that in a second. So while sales are falling on average, the U.S. geography matters. Sun Belt markets, including Florida and Texas, which boomed with the influx of new arrivals during the pandemic, are now cooling in part because people have been priced out. Meanwhile, metros in the West, such as Seattle and San Francisco Bay Area, had sharper corrections in late 2022 and are already beginning to recover. Contract signings were down at least 14% in Houston, West Palm Beach, Florida, and Atlanta. but surged by roughly that amount in San Jose, California. That's according to year-over-year data from Redfin. Redfin's measure of pending sales was down 3.4% nationwide. And then it goes on to say here, 18 months ago, homes in the booming suburbs north of Nashville wouldn't even stay on the market for a day. A real estate agent in Hendersonville, Tennessee, this is a real estate agent in Henderson, Tennessee that says this. Nowadays, a developer client recently pulled 2 homes off the market after getting lowball offers. Oh boy. Oh boy. So Rebecca, tell me what's going on in Texas? What are you seeing in Dallas, Fort Worth?
So I've been reading in Dallas, Fort Worth, things are, so it just depends on the product, and it depends on, you know, the condition of the property is really what I'm seeing. There's still houses that are going for multiple offers. We still are in that springtime of real estate, essentially that summertime where a lot of people are in the market right now. A lot of people are kind of looking, but they're being very particular about what they are wanting to get. So I've seen houses go, you know, for multiple offers. And then on the other hand, I've seen houses sit for 30, 60, 90 days before anything happens. The townhouse market is also seeing a little bit of a decline in my specific area. Kind of noticed that kind of going into the spring, but there's still multiple offers. But I mean, with multiple offers, you get that in any market. If your house is priced right, staged, looks beautiful, you're going to get multiple offers. I mean, that's just the reality of that concept. That's why you hire an agent to kind of advise what you need to do and how you need to price it.
Right.
But I am seeing a little bit of a shift in the other direction. I think in McKinney today, if I pulled up my stats, McKinney's north of Dallas, we had just today alone 15 price decreases. Some of them, a lot of the bigger price cuts were in new construction. I did see that.
Really?
A lot of the 10%, 9%, 6% reductions were all new construction. So I think builders are starting to kind of feel it a little bit too.
Yeah.
But I think that rates, even though they've dabbled under 7%, it's still not quite enough for people to just want to jump into the market. Even homeowners that have families, they almost feel like they're stuck a little bit because they're trying to move into a more expensive house, usually a larger house, and usually that comes with, you know, more money. And not too long ago, you know, those bigger houses would sit for longer amounts of time, meaning over time they would slowly reduce in price, and then you could snag it, right?
Right.
And I mean, when prices fall, they're not going to fall dramatically. They're going to fall slowly over time. You know, you're not going to get $100,000 of house unless it's been sitting for, you know, 200-300 days, maybe, right? And you know, gets the sellers to that point where they're just like, oh, well, I'm just going to need to do that. In Austin, they're seeing the same thing, probably more so than Dallas. I feel like Austin really shot up during that, you know, pandemic, and they're really going further down as a result. I've been seeing a lot of articles about that. We rose quite a bit, but we didn't rise as much as Austin did. Houston, probably about the same as us as far as ups and downs, but I feel like we have a little bit more stabler economy and more jobs and a little bit more desirability than Houston, which is why we haven't, you know, gone as far. We haven't dropped as much as Houston has. So those are kind of the three, I guess, big metros. If we kind of want to, that's kind of what what's happening in those areas right now.
Okay, cool. All right. So are the builders not offering like incentives towards the loans?
They are.
I mean, like closing cost incentives, but like buying down rates. Are they not doing that?
Oh, it just depends. So like Lennar, which is, I think they build nationwide. They're offering rates. When I went in last time, I think their rates were like right around 4.5 to 4.9. Still, because they bought a whole bunch of those early on, Now there is a limit as to how long they can offer that, right?
Yeah.
Before it's all gone.
Yep.
All those rates that they pre-purchased essentially through their lending company. I'm not sure about D.R. Horton. I haven't been in a while for them. And then a couple of all of the other builders like Highland Homes, Mattamy, TriPoint, a lot of them are offering like $10,000, $25,000 towards closing costs.
Wow.
And you can use it any way you want. You can buy down your rate. So I've seen as much as $25,000 towards whatever you want.
You know, I'm not surprised because the property I had in Delaware, that's a Lennar, that was built by Lennar, and the new homes that they're putting in the community where we own, they were offering like crazy incentives like that, like the 20 or 25,000 towards closing costs.
Yeah.
And the prices were being reduced too. It's like, ooh, yeah. So they're they're feeling it. They're all feeling it. So Ricky Bobby says here, Dallas resident in 635 Loop, people are asking top dollar.
Yeah, I'd say that that's pretty accurate. I think that's anywhere. People are still trying to get, the top of the top, the cream of the crop, right? Because we're shifting a little bit down. So when you shift down in a market, you're going to start, seeing those reductions. And so over time, you'll see those adjustments. But some people will try to overshoot.
Yep. Yep.
And then they'll have to reduce even further in order to get it sold, or just take it off the market completely. Because hey, if they didn't have to sell in the first place, then they really didn't have any skin in the game to begin with.
Exactly. I know. Well, that's the thing too. I mean, if you're a serious seller, yeah, that's one thing. But sometimes you got those people that are putting it out there just to test the market and see what they're going to get. So I see that a lot. Still. I'm just going to go through some of the comments here because people are just, oh my God. I love it. I appreciate everyone being here. Tracy, thanks for being here. Prices are still sky high in Wisconsin. Wow. Wisconsin.
The top state.
Let me see what else we got here. Oh, this is hello, Jen Gregory. If builders are feeling it too, doesn't that mean they're rolling the inventory out at an overpriced list? Yeah. Well, because think about it, new builds are more expensive, right? Well, they're expensive because of all the materials.
Yeah.
So I think they're just throwing it out there, and then they just roll with the market after that.
And they're typically what do you want to say, like in an area, if you're trying to compare new builds to resale, I want to say they're at least $50,000 to $100,000 more. If you compare square footage to square footage, same square
new build, right? Yep.
Because everything's newer, right? So everything's brand new, and then you've got your costs of labor have gone up too.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, I know. I mean, what hasn't gone up? I mean, come on.
Wages have not gone up enough.
Wages, that's right. Wages haven't, but let's just raise everything else.
Yeah.
Oh my God. We got a question here from Donna Kastner. Donna, thanks for being here. What questions should we, home sellers and home buyers, be asking to ensure that real estate agents can advise effectively for optimizing on today's market? Good question, Donna. So what questions should you be asking to ensure real estate agents can advise effectively? So you should always be asking what the market is. So I will tell you, I see agents still doing this today, and I'm not trying to throw shade on agents, but because business is so slow right now for some of us, they're going to take a listing and they'll take it at any price.
Yeah.
So if a homeowner says, hey, I think my home's worth 1.5 million, but it's really worth like 1 million, and you know that, and you're going to just say, okay, you know what? Yeah, we'll try it and see what happens. Now, look, you want to do what the seller says, but you're also showing them comps of like what's selling, what's been selling in the market, right? And if their home is not going to be anywhere near that price, don't list it at that price, because then it's going to sit for a long time, and then the price reductions come in, and then you end up getting a lowball offer, and they end up selling it for, maybe $1 million, maybe even under, if it sits long enough. So just definitely make sure for the buyer's agents and selling agents, Donna, you want to make sure they know the market, what the things are selling for, what percentage are these homes selling for over asking price. That's a key thing, because I get this a lot.
Or under asking price. How low is too low when it comes to a low ball?
Exactly.
That's an
So
important question to ask too.
yes, that's a good one too. So you want to make sure they understand it. Like when somebody says, I want to put an offer on his house, I will go back and I look at the comps. I'll do 3 months and I'll see how much over asking these houses sell for. And I'll tell them, this is the range, say 20 to 50, 100,000 over asking. And then I have to tell them, you have to decide what you're comfortable with. But, here's the data, this is what they're going for. If you're comfortable with that, go with the number that you want to put in, that you feel like you got to go with what you feel the house is worth. Right. So those are key things. And again, if you're selling your home, again, going back to make sure you're pricing it right. Don't let that seller be greedy and just want to overprice just to, or just as, whatever, like the agent should be telling you, don't overprice, because you are going to sit. If the longer you're on, the harder it's going to sell. Like my rule of thumb, when I put a house on the market and I try to price it right at the, whatever the last one sold for, maybe just slightly under. And I'll say, if we don't have an offer or if we have very little activity in the first 2 weeks, price reduction. You have to. And a lot of them don't like that.
Every day. I mean, that's what people don't understand, is that we're trying to get it as close as we can to what we're going to, get it, right? Yep. And the closer we are to that sweet spot, the more likely it's going to sell. But you have to understand that things change every day.
Yes.
So it's not going to be like exactly that price necessarily.
Right.
Also, I think knowing your market is incredibly important when it comes to your competition. So if you're selling a house, knowing what other houses in the neighborhood are for sale, why are they still on the market? Are they going to be higher priced or lower priced than where you're coming in at? Are those other homes going to help your house sell because you're priced right? Or are you pricing it so much higher than those other houses to where you're helping the other houses sell,
Yep. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Those are really good, valid points. Jay says in Fort Worth, I think it's fairly priced. How are you feeling about that, Rebecca?
Fort Worth, it just depends on the area. I mean, there's lots of different sections and sectors of Fort Worth. There's North Fort Worth, which is closer to that Roanoke, Hazlet area. That's really nice, really booming. People are paying quite a bit more over there. South Fort Worth is a little bit less expensive, but it's not as desirable as the northern part of Fort Worth. So if you get into the inner city Fort Worth, it's not really as desirable. Just like downtown, buying a home in downtown Dallas is not as desirable as just outside of Dallas. So it just depends on where, but Fort Worth is definitely more affordable than Dallas for sure. 100%.
Okay. All right. Good to know. I hope everybody caught that. If you're looking to buy in Dallas, Fort Worth. Joe K says, do you think builders are more likely to cut prices because they lose money every day it doesn't sell? Well, yeah, there's carrying costs. There's, they want to offload it. They just want to offload it because especially if they have another project they need to get started on, they got to get rid of what they got. So, I mean, do you agree with that, Rebecca?
I agree. And that's a really big opportunity in the market right now. If there's a house that's been sitting on the market with new construction and you can see that it's been sitting for a while, I mean, really try to be aggressive and negotiate with those sales agents and say, hey, like it's been sitting for a while, how about 20,000 off the price, 30,000, let's get some big bucks going. And a lot of times they'll say yes, because especially if it's like you said, they're feeling the pain of having it sit for longer and you're a very qualified buyer, then there's not going to be too much hesitation.
So you want to hear something crazy. So friends of ours, 2 different sets of friends, bought in the community in Delaware that we own, where we own our rental property. And our one friend, he was supposed to close, I think it was like in the fall, right? I'm so fall of last year, or no, the year prior. Anyway, he was supposed to close in say like September. It got delayed because the Lennar was waiting on a transformer to come. So they had this section of this community had no power.
Wow.
They didn't have a transformer because it was on back order or whatever. It took months for this thing to get there. So Now Lennar is panicking because they couldn't close on these houses. They didn't have electricity. They ended up reducing prices throughout the rest of the community to
I thought you were going to
offload.
say they were going to make them close, because I've seen builders do that. We're going to make you close.
Are you serious?
Yep. We're going to make you close on your close, even though X, Y, and Z is not done. Now, power is a different thing, but I've seen it happen here. When there's a lot of demand for new construction, I've seen them do it. Now, you do sign a document that says these things have to be done within a certain period of time after closing. But still, I mean, it's just
Oh my God.
to do anything.
I don't think they see in that particular case with Lennar. I don't think they could have done it because they didn't have a date as to when they're getting a transformer. So it literally took. I think our friend ended up closing. He closed in January. He was supposed to close in September. He didn't close till January.
3 months later.
Can you imagine? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So
only
anyway.
3 months later.
Only 3 months. No big deal. So no problem. All right. So I just want to bring up the other one. Now, this is another one from Fortune. Talking about home prices. I hate these little pop-ups.
Yeah.
Home prices could start dropping this summer, marking the first domino to fall on the way to a weaker economy, strategist says. I love the doom and gloom. Anyway, more homes are languishing on the market without any buyers, setting up prices to start falling as soon as this summer. This is from Brian Nick, who's a senior investment strategist at Macro Institute. In fact, the year-over-year percentage increase in unsold existing homes for sale is the highest since the great financial crisis. Oh, interesting. So he goes on to say, it says down here, he's saying when the selling season winds down in the summer and heading into the fall, Nick said home prices will start to drop and erode consumer confidence. While high prices have demoralized prospective buyers, they have buoyed sentiment among the owners of those homes, along with the strong labor market. Once they start seeing housing prices falling, maybe the home next to them going for a little bit less than asking, as opposed to what they've been seeing in the last couple of years, that will dent their ability to spend and their willingness to spend as well. The housing market is really the first domino to fall on what we think is going to be a slower growth story down the road. Other housing market watchers have also pointed to a shift, with more buyers pushing back against the high home prices that sellers are demanding. Compass founder Robert Refkin told CNBC last month 30% of the inventory on the market has seen a price drop more than any time in the last decade, with supply up 16%. So 30% of the inventory on the market has seen a price drop.
Okay.
That's crazy. But I mean,
16% is nothing for supply. That's the biggest problem I feel like we still have. There's just not enough supply.
I know. So I keep going back to the rates. Now there's that all this talk, the rumors about that the rates, the feds are going to probably reduce rates come the fall. I also heard that there's a rumor it's going to come in this summer, as early as like this month or July or whatever. No, they meet again this month, don't they? Yeah, the feds meet this month.
Mm-hmm. I think
So
you're right.
it could happen this month. What the hell is going to happen when those rates come down again?
Well, I don't think. I hope they don't just be like, let's slam it to 4, because
that's not going to happen.
That would be
no
number one. I mean, it would be good in a certain regard, then it would be bad in a lot of regards too. But I think that it's hopefully going to be like a gradual, how they gradually went up. I hope it's kind of a gradual go back down to whatever that normal number is. And we just stay. Thank you to Clark. We just stay there. We just stay there, because when interest rates are stable, I feel like everything else kind of normalizes out. When we see these big fluctuations from going from 4 to 7 to 8, I mean, doubling and then reduce, it's just too much fluctuation with the interest rates. Because before that, things were pretty steady. Things were pretty, like my market was starting to normalize right before pandemic. I was starting to see an even number of buyers and an even number of sellers. And it was really, really nice to see that things weren't going crazy up and things weren't like crazy. So that's where I hope that this correction, I mean, the correction's going to it's going to do what it's going to do. And when rates get to a certain point, we're going to see a whole bunch more buyers flood into the market, which is going to increase prices. But I hope that it's gradual enough to where it just does. It's not a repeat of the pandemic.
Yep. Yep. So Sydney says here, we see no price drop in central New York, Fingers Lake region. You know why? Because upstate New York, it's still affordable. As a matter of fact, Rochester was just rated the hottest housing market in the country right now.
Wow.
And no offense to Rochester. I mean, you know, it's not.
I don't know anything about Rochester. You know,
really, it's, I mean, back in its heyday, I mean, Kodak, remember Kodak film?
Yeah.
Kodak, yeah, that's where Kodak's headquarters were. That was like the big thing for Rochester. But I mean, it's, you know, it's okay, but it's cheap houses, and people are just, that's where people are going. They're going to go to parts of the country where they can find the affordable home.
Right. Because price also plays a role. It's not just interest rates. I mean, the amount of house that you can get for a certain price.
Yeah.
You know, if you can decrease how much you're paying for the home, you know, that's a factor into how much to lowering your monthly mortgage payment. So
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So September is supposed to be 50% chance of a rate cut. Yeah. So we'll see about that. It might just happen. I wanted to put this one up. Myron says, I just read the zero down gimmick is coming back. Just watch the foreclosures happen. I am so glad you brought that up, because I'm going to do a video on this very thing, because I do videos talking about foreclosures. And I was just reading this very thing today. And I'm like, you know what? That's my next topic, because this is going to be a big issue. We're going to go back to 2008 with that nonsense. So Clark says, from the CPI report, I'm not sure if they will come down. I think they may stay steady, but we will see, because people are hurting. Exactly, Clark. But again, I keep saying, I think because of the situation that we're in an election year, I think they're going to try and say, let's bring those rates down. And it's going to be disastrous.
Wild year. It's an election year, guys.
Yeah.
Wild and crazy.
Sorry, Donna. No shade to Rochester. Hello, Watermelon says, people keep saying not to expect prices to return to pre-pandemic levels, but here in Seattle, if they ever return to pre-pandemic levels, it would be a huge improvement. I'm sure it would, but it is true. Don't expect them to be pre-pandemic. That's just out. That's out the window, unless, God forbid, we have a crash. But anyway, so in your experience, have sellers been open to dropping their price if the home is not appraised for asking price? Not now. Like, so I talked about this recently here in Jersey. Sellers, when you're submitting an offer, they want to know that you're waiving appraisal. They want to see the money. They want to know that you had the money to cover the appraisal gap, or if you're going to be willing to pay the extra PMI on your mortgage. They won't even consider your offer if you don't show the proof that you're going to cover that appraisal gap. I mean, how is that in Texas for you?
Yeah, here in Texas, absolutely. We're not signing appraisal waivers and children anymore. So it's, I mean, with those competitive offers and those multiple offers for the really good ones, I would say maybe a partial waiver. We have something that's called a partial waiver, or a full waiver might be necessary. But I think that if you are in that situation, you need to know where the appraisal is going to be before you put in your offer, and your real estate agent's going to be able to help you find those numbers. I did it forever. When we were in crazy hot times, I would be like, okay, here's the range of the appraisal from here to here. Worst case scenario, this is how much you're going to be out of pocket. Best case scenario, you're not paying anything, or you're paying very little. So with every offer that's being written in those hot markets, your real estate agent really has to be conscious as to, this is where we think the appraisal is going to land before you even put in your offer. So that way you're a little bit more protected.
So yes. And here's another thing to add to that. Like, so the lender, one of the lenders, I've done this with a couple of lenders, they call it an appraisal waiver certificate. And what that is if you're putting 20% down and you have good credit, 20% or more, good credit, they can run a program. And what they'll do is they'll look at comparables in the area, and based on like your standing, your credit and down payment, they can spit out and come back and say, no appraisal needed to get the mortgage.
I've seen that too in my area. With
That's
somebody.
key. And I've done that on several occasions where if I had a really strong buyer,
Or if they're putting a lot of money down, that helps.
yes.
Mhm.
Yep. If they're putting a lot of money down, they're in that good financial position, good credit.
Yep.
I will call the lender and it's like before we even like as soon as I submit the offer, I'll say, can you just do it? See if we can get an appraisal waiver certificate. And they'll get it. I've done that several times and we've won. That's how I've won the bidding wars because we said, look, we doesn't even need an appraisal. So, yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. So MoSim, what are your thoughts on zero down? By the way, Jackie, your hair looks great. Gee, thanks.
Mine's not as stylish today.
No, I'm having a bad hair day. That's why the hair is up. I need a haircut badly. So yeah. So my thoughts on zero down. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan, but stay tuned. I'm going to talk about this. So not tomorrow's video, next Tuesday, that video is going to come out. And I'm going to share my thoughts on that whole thing. Because I think
is it going to be zero down for conventional or is it going to be a government backed program?
I thought it was conventional. I can't remember. I thought
conventional can go as low as 3% or 3%.
I forget the name of the company. There's one bank that's doing it.
Okay.
Hold on a minute. You know what I'll do? Let me
actually, I think I've heard of some zero down programs in my neck of the woods. And I want to say that they were wrapping in some of the cost to something else to help. I'd have to revisit and see what it was, but there was a lender that was offering it.
Yeah.
And trying to get people into homes.
Hold on. Let me just, let me share it. I just pulled it up. Where are we? Zero down. Oh, yes.
Here. We are here.
Sorry. Can you see my screen? Zero down mortgages making a comeback. Did you see this?
Yes.
Okay. Hold on. Wait, that's not what I wanted. Why did it come up in Reddit? I didn't want that. Okay. So.
But here's the problem with 0% down mortgages is that if you're not putting anything down, you're still going to have a higher monthly payment.
Well, that's what they're saying here. So it says here, the new program offered, this is it, United Wholesale Mortgage. The new program offered by United Wholesale Mortgage is making experts nervous about how these loans could backfire on homeowners, especially if home prices stop going to the moon. And for some, it's bringing back bad memories of subprime mortgage meltdown fueled the right. So this mortgage company led by Matt Ishbia, the billionaire owner of the Phoenix Suns, saying home buyers who qualify won't need to put down an upfront down payment. Instead, the program will allow buyers to pay for 97% of the home's value with the first mortgage and then provide the remaining 3% up to $15,000 in the form of a second mortgage.
So like a payback loan. I've seen those before.
Okay. That second mortgage won't accrue interest, but it needs to be paid back in full as a balloon payment when the home is sold. The mortgage is paid off.
Balloon.
Finance. Yeah. So that's what this is. So this saying here, it could happen again. That could be a problem with the homeowner.
Creative financing coming back.
Yes. It's total creative financing. But this is the problem they're worried about. That could be a problem if the homeowner needs to sell quickly, perhaps because they lose their job, face financial distress, or need to relocate. Suddenly, they'd be on the hook to pay back that second mortgage. And because they're underwater, the home sale won't generate enough cash to retire the debt. That's the problem.
And the problem with that versus a VA or a USDA loan, because those are also 0% loans, is that those are backed by the government. So the government's going to default on those if those ever go versus this is just Joe Blow Smo over here in ABC lending.
Yes. And then you got somebody that's going into foreclosure and it's all on them. Hello, Bob Curran. Thanks for being here. Bob's a loyal fan. He's been here for a very long time. I appreciate you being here.
One of your moderators for the comments.
I know. There you go, Bob. I might have a job for you.
Yeah, Bob, we've got a job, and that rhymes. So
we need a job. I think I got a job for you. Clark says I'm not a fan of zero down either. Yeah, no, it's a recipe for disaster. Just my opinion. I've had a seller's agent list a property, and they wanted the buyer to cover the buyer's agent commission. Here we go, Rebecca. It looks like it didn't get much offers, so now they're doing highest and best offer in New Jersey. Ooh. where in Jersey was this? Because this is the first time I'm hearing something like this with the seller's commission. I mean, with the buyer's agent commission.
So they are doing highest and best.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes, Jen, I agree with you. Second mortgage shenanigans. It is. So yeah. Okay. Real quick. And let me share something else with everybody, because I put this on my community page last week. Y'all ready for this one? Talk about highest and best in Jersey. Do you guys see this? I put this on I showed this on my community last week.
Do command plus. Zoom in.
Oh, command plus. Sorry. Hold on.
A little bit there.
How's that? There we go.
Now our feeble eyes can see.
Okay, sorry. So check this out. This is a town that's in my market. It got 79 offers. It sold for $137,000 over asking price. This is the norm in Jersey right now.
Question, Jackie.
What?
Priced it. Did they really price it well?
Did
they underprice it?
It was
underpriced it intentionally. I've seen people underprice intentionally.
I will tell you right now. No, they did not, because this is a 2-bedroom house. It wasn't even like a 3 or 4 bedroom house. It was a 2-bedroom house. So backstory to this.
Okay.
This home belonged to an agent who was in my office. Unfortunately, he passed away in January. So another agent in my office took the listing on. His daughter reached out to her and said, "Can you list this?" She priced it according to a 2-bedroom house.
Wow. And
it still went for $137,000 over asking. Like,
but what was the starting list price?
It was, oh my God, I forget. It was
in the hundreds or
threes. It was in the high threes.
High threes. And where is that as far as where your market is? Is it the bottom of the market? Is it at the middle?
That's like on the lower end.
The lower end. So the lower end of your market. Now, this was probably in really good condition, but still a 2-bedroom.
Yep. It was in excellent condition.
Yeah.
It was like, it was move-in condition. So that's why. But this is the reality in northern New Jersey, and a lot of sections of Jersey.
Yeah, a lot of hot markets.
It's crazy. It is really crazy. Okay, so Sydney has a question. I love my comments, you guys. Sydney says, "Are existing appraisals accurate as listed on government sites, for example? Can we count on that as a guide?" Well, yeah, because when the appraisals are done, they are submitted to like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and all them, right? Like they all have that on a database. That's what I thought.
Government sites. I'm not sure about government sites, but I know that if you're trying to see where pricing would be as far as like on the tax roll, though, I wouldn't use those because that's based off the assessed value, not the appraised value.
Exactly. So yeah, locally, you're right. But I know like whenever an appraisal is done, that goes to the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and them. So it's, I don't know how you get that public knowledge, but basically so when you see a house that's sold, it's pretty much, if they got a mortgage, then it obviously it appraised, right? If it's sold for that price, it appraised at that price, right? Typically, unless in some cases you can have homes like that overappraised. Like for us, we can see when there's a price reduction on MLS. I'm sure you can see it too. So when house sold, like say it was a list price, and you could see it's in green when the price is reduced. So I mean, that's a sign it's possible maybe it appraised at that price, but that's a way to check it too. Yeah. So let's see what else. Oh my God, there's so many things. Okay. Nora, absolutely ridiculous to think a buyer will cover the buyer's agent commission. As a buyer, I would shy away because it indicates the seller is going to be difficult to work with.
Oh, I agree with that statement.
I know. Great minds, Rebecca. I know. I can see that. I can see that. But listen, get ready. It's going to happen. It's going to happen a lot. And then buyers are just going to offer a lower price. They're just going to say, "Okay, I'm going to take the commission off, and this is what I'm going to offer you.
I'll give you 3% less for what you're asking."
Exactly. Like, oh, okay, here you go. This coming summer is going to be so interesting in our industry to see how this whole thing is going to play out. And
we haven't had any forms changed. I mean, I talked to I talked to somebody today about have any forms changed? Has anything happened here in my area? I know in Austin, I think it has, but here in Dallas, like none of the buyer agency agreements have changed. That's all stayed the same. So
Oh no, we've had some changes to ours. So we had a meeting. I think I remember I told you a few weeks ago, we had a meeting with our company, and an attorney spoke to us, and he went over the whole buyer agent agreement. And there were some pretty significant changes, and one of them being the whole fee part of it. Okay. So, we got to check off, are we doing a percentage or are we doing a flat fee? And then there was another one. There was something else there. I can't remember. Or hourly rate. Oh. Hourly rate.
Yeah.
Okay, then. Okay. So, yeah. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Yesenia, I've been hearing some sellers are pushing people to waive appraisals or inspections on properties that are definitely not worth the waive, even though there aren't multiple over asking offers. So my answer to that, their agent, who's ever the listing agent, that's dumb. You don't allow your seller to do that. If you have one offer and you're not in a multiple offer situation, don't encourage your seller to, demand that they waive the appraisal and all. Like, look, it's only when you get a multiple offer situation, that's when you do that. So
it sounds like, but I guess whoever this listing agent was letting them know that the other properties weren't, weren't higher, which I've seen that happen.
Yep.
I'll call an agent and they're like, oh yeah, we've received some offers. They weren't really that great. So that great tells me that you're probably not at list price if your seller didn't accept the offer.
Yeah. There's like keywords that I when I'm talking to the listing agent, like, did you get any offers? Yeah, we did. It was, it was good. It's like when they say it was good, I'm like, yeah, it's not.
Make a decision.
Yeah, right. It's like, oh, okay, so it wasn't strong. Like, when they we're at a point where we say, if I have multiple offers, I ask my clients, can I tell them? Like, yeah, tell them we have multiple offers, very strong. And if they allow me to say it, I'll tell them we are over ask, but when you get those that say, yeah, or we have some,
yeah,
we have some offers. So I'm like, okay, I guess they're not good.
They're all from investors.
Exactly. Right. Gerald says, have you heard of Alicia Bowles, the Dallas realtor?
No, I haven't, Gerald.
I have not either. Okay. I wonder if she's on YouTube.
Yeah, that makes me think that she's probably a YouTuber.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So another thing I just wanted to bring up, another interesting, I'm just like a wealth of information tonight. I just want to share with everybody. So is this Redfin or Realtor? I got confused between the two. Redfin. Okay. Do I need to Command Plus again?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry, Rebecca. Get your glasses, Rebecca.
I need to get some.
I'm kidding. All right. So Redfin, this is as of May 30th, price drops hit highest level in 18 months as high rates dampen buyer demand. 6.4% of home sellers cut their asking price during the 4 weeks ending May 26 on average, the highest share since November 2022. Median asking price dropped roughly $3,000. To $416,623 in the last week, the first decline in 6 months. So they're going on to say in the same thing that the high costs are dampening demand. Pending sales are down 3.4% year over year. Mm-hmm. And even though they were 7.8% more new listings hit the market during the same period, listing growth has been losing momentum for the last few months. Actually, no, this isn't the right article I wanted to share. Hold on one second. I'm like, sorry.
It's okay.
I'm just too excited. Hold on.
Look, you got her all flustered. She's all flustered.
I know. Oh, this is the one that I need. Okay.
Okay.
This is the one. Here we go.
Okay. We got it now.
This one, Realtor.com, the U.S. needs 1.5 million more homes to ease the crisis housing shortage.
Just make sure they're not being able to be bought by corporate investors.
Yes, that too.
Let's build them, but then don't let the corporate investors take any of them.
Exactly. Yes. So Hold on a minute. The rental vacancy remained flat. Where do we go? No, to bring the vacancy rate, both rental and homeowner, back in line with historical averages, U.S. needs to add an additional 1.5 million vacant for sale and for rent homes. Without such units, the pressure on housing markets will persist. Yeah. So this is now it goes on here to say home builders. Now, this is the other thing. I've said this before. We need to build more homes. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what they're all complaining about the regulations, right? So there's so many laws and rules and regulations on these builders. It's very challenging for them to build these homes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Construction of entry-level homes has declined on an absolute and percentage basis since the early 1980s and took another leg down after the Great Recession. In 2020, Freddie Mac estimates there were only 65,000 new entry-level homes completed, less than 1/5 of the entry-level homes constructed annually in the late 1970s. More recently, builders have started to pivot to building smaller homes in an effort to lure buyers frustrated by high prices and mortgage rates. In April, the median new home sale price was $433,500, down 1.4% from March, but up 3.9% compared to a year ago, according to the National Association of Home Builders. So we still have this inventory issue, and whether or not lowering the rates can fix that, if the rates come down low enough to incentivize a seller to say, "Hey, I'm going to jump in the market now and sell."
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be that's what's going to be the fix. I think
the balance, like you said, a balance of rates coming down and houses coming on the market.
Yeah,
and that should help level, but it has to be even. Like if the seller is like, I can't sell my house because if I have to turn around and buy it, it's really difficult, then they're not going to have any incentive to put it on the market,
right?
Unless they have to sell their house, unless it's a have to.
Exactly.
But the other thing about that article that I thought was interesting was like we're still building a lot here, but we have more space to do that.
Yep.
I know up in the New England coast, there's not a whole lot of space to do that.
No.
But I've seen a couple of projects where they're trying to put in, like, maybe it was in Canada. I don't know. I watched this weird video, but it was so cool. It had like, there was a house here and then there was a house on top of it. And there were like multiple units in one little small space. But I was like, I don't know if that's a solution, but
were they homes that you could buy or are they for rent?
I think they were to purchase.
Okay. Because you know what I'm seeing a lot here in Jersey and in my area, a lot of apartment buildings are getting built.
Yeah.
So that's what investors are doing. They're taking advantage since there's no land to like build a whole neighborhood. They're just going to put in a building and then make money on the rent. So, all right. Mohit, thanks for being here. Question. I am still debating how much percentage would you suggest to put down on a house, assuming that I have 60 to 70% cash from the house price. If you could, as much as you can, over 20%, because if you have to get a mortgage, that'll bring your rate down. So
yeah, it'll bring your, there's also a sweet spot. So I would talk to your lender about, because there's a sweet spot between, I think, 20 and 25%, or maybe even 30%, putting those down, because, and then also your monthly payment goes into, plays a role as well, because the more you put down, the less your monthly payment's going to be. So if you're trying to target a certain monthly payment, that's going to really tell you how much you need to put down. And then the other thing is that sweet spot of rates is something that I would ask your lender about. There is a sweet spot to where it's like, if you put X amount of dollars down,
yes,
you get the very best rate.
Yep.
So
yep. You're right.
You might even consider a 15-year product as well versus a 30-year fixed if you have that much cash.
Yes, that's a good idea too. So, okay. Hope that helped. Hope that answered your question. Clark, I love the comments tonight. Thank you so much. They are building a lot of apartments and rental homes down here in Atlanta. Yeah. So Clark, I think I want to have you on because I know there's been a lot of investors, corporate investors that bought up a lot in Atlanta. And I would just love to, I'd love to have a conversation with you about that, because I think that would be a good topic to discuss, because I know you guys saw a lot of that down there. Cece says, I see that all around me in Georgia, majority of properties are being built are apartments, townhomes for rent.
Or even whole communities. I've seen houses for rent.
Yes.
Whole communities and houses for rent.
Yep.
Those little small 2-bedroom, they almost look like they're like apartments, but they're separated and you have a little backyard and a garage.
Okay. Okay. Yep. All right. So we have here Peppermore, crazy weird question. Are all 0 down variable rates? I don't think so. I know they were back in the day, but I don't think these are these new ones.
Like adjustable rates, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, she's talking about ARMs like we had back in the day.
Mortgage. Yeah, it would. I don't think. I don't think so. I think you could you could probably try to find an ARM product for 0% down, but I don't think that all of them are, because I've seen some that are 30-year fixed for 0% down.
Yeah, I'm looking at the article again really quick. It actually doesn't say.
It doesn't say.
So, but
I've seen products that are fixed that are.
You have, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we have X. Would it not make sense to take a 30-year and hit it hard, double up on payments instead of taking out a 15-year in case you lose your job?
Yeah.
You could do that too.
Yeah.
No, you could totally do that.
You can. There's even a pattern X if you wanted to do it that way. I want to say it's like you do an extra payment for so many years, and then you refinance into a 20-year, and then you do it for so many years, you refinance into 15, and then you do it for so many years, and you can keep refinancing, and then to where you get it down to where it's paid off. One of my really good friends had this strategy he was telling me about, and I was really impressed. So I don't know what the strategy is called. I apologize, but
you're fine.
You can't look it up or anything, but there is a strategy to where if you wanted to slowly, not pay as much interest essentially in that 30-year fixed mortgage, that you could do it and not necessarily have to double up, but do it strategically to where you could get out of it quicker.
Right. Yeah. Listen, everything's creative, right? There's creative ways. Okay. This probably isn't meant to be a nice comment, but I'm going to put it up because I think it's hilarious. Jackie Baker channels a ripoff of Christina Smallhorn's YouTube. I will take that as a compliment any day. Thank you so much. Christina is a very good friend of mine, by the way. So
that's right. I was about to say, Taco, we know Christina.
Yeah, we all exactly. We're both very good friends with her. So yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, what else do we got here? Oh, thank you, Clark. I will definitely reach out to you. Yeah. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying the conversation. That's awesome. Misty Jordan, rent keeps going up and up in SC. I'm assuming South Carolina. Mm-hmm. Really hoping to be able to buy something soon. Just concerned with down payment. Would be a first-time home buyer, no debt except for $5,000 student loan. Oh, that's awesome. You're in good shape. What I would do, Misty, see if there's any first-time home buyer programs in your state or like local area, your county, wherever you live. Talk to a lender to see if there's any first-time home buyer programs where you can get assistance towards closing costs.
Down payment assistance program.
Down payment assistance. Yeah. I mean, Jersey, you can choose either down payment assistance or closing cost assistance. And it's a great program. I highly recommend you look into that. That would help you out a lot.
T-Shack. And then there's also another one, another lender that I've worked with. They were saying that it was better than the T-Shack. T-Shack, I can't remember. I just know that it's an acronym. Sorry. I feel like my brain is half lender, half realtor in a lot of cases.
Yeah. Well, it's good. You know your stuff. So that's good. Juliana Rosero says, if you had the opportunity to improve the current housing market, what specific strategies or incentives would you recommend to encourage more sellers to list their properties? If you had the opportunity to So what I would do, well, first of all, price it. You just got to price your house right. Don't be greedy, right? And if you want to, to list your properties, the thing is, what we can only do so much to help you maximize the end for you, right? Your net gain, right? But really just price it right. And if it shows well, the house shows well, it's move-in condition, it's priced well, it'll sell fast. You probably will get over asking. I mean, look, we've been in a seller's market in Jersey since 2019, before 2019. I think we had a little lull in 2018, but I have had multiple offers, like almost all the time for the last 5 years.
Sellers had a way to know that it would be easy for them to buy a house first, so they knew where they were going, and then sell their property. There would be a lot more people that would consider it, especially if they're kind of on the fence. Because if you have to sell, you have to sell. That's one thing. But if you're like, I would be, or if you're, if you'd be like, it would be really nice if I could move to X city to be closer to my grandchildren, right? But I'm hesitant because, I'm not sure how things are going to shake out here or there. But there are programs, there are real estate agents that can help you purchase a home first and then sell your property without not having.
Yes.
Bridge loan is one way, but that's
I don't recommend that.
I don't recommend that either.
I don't recommend a bridge loan.
A line of credit is another option for.
You can take a HELOC. Yeah, take a HELOC out on your house. Use that for a down payment on the next house. And
then once your other house sells, you close it out, and that way there's not as much. There's not as many fees, and you don't lose as much money. I feel like in that type of situation. But there are ways to encourage sellers. They just have to be motivated. We have to figure out what their motivation is and hone in on it. Like, is your dream to move to Florida? Is your dream to move closer to family? Is your dream to, like, whatever your dreams are, they're attainable. You just have to be connected to the right person to show you which way you need to go. And I think if more sellers realize that, I think there would be more houses on the market.
Right.
But if people love an area, people love an area. I mean, you can't argue with that.
Exactly. Cindy on YouTube, thanks for coming back, Cindy. It's good to see you. The last time we had a mortgage was in 2000. Would we be considered first-time buyers again? So you don't have a mortgage right now, I'm assuming. I guess everything's paid off, because I think it's like 10 years or something like that. If you don't have a mortgage, you could be considered that. I think. I know it sounds crazy, but I think that's possible. Rebecca, have you heard that?
I want to think it's less than that.
You do? You think it's less than 10 years?
Mm-hmm.
I know. I have to
5, or it may be tied to bankruptcies, because the 7 years, 7-year wait period for that. Yeah. So it may be tied to that number too.
Okay. Ankar, thanks for being here. He wants to know, is now the good time to buy in DFW? Which area do you think will be good? Wanting to be close to downtown.
All right. Downtown DFW, you're probably looking at a condo, unless you want to spend a lot of money. And I would say good time to buy depends on you and your situation. And if you have the down payment for it, if you know that if you have the means to do it and you can afford the monthly payment, I would go ahead and do it. If you don't have your finances in line, then I probably would wait until you get your finances in line to pull the trigger on that. Jumping into a townhouse or a condo in downtown, you want to be very careful and very particular about it as well. Just like we mentioned at the beginning of the live stream, buyers are pickier. They should be pickier. And that would be my advice to you, is to really figure out which areas, which part of downtown. I kind of know a little bit about downtown if you want to reach out to me, but you're more than welcome to connect to, if you already have a friend there. I mean, obviously reach out to them. So
I will share Rebecca's channel at the end, and definitely reach out to Rebecca. She can get you she can definitely help you out. So Pepper says, if you get down payment assistance and a home loan, don't you have 2 different loan payments? No, assistance is a grant. You don't pay that back.
Well, it depends. There's some grants that you pay back if you don't stay in the house within so many years. So be very careful.
Right. You have to stay. Right. I'm sorry. Thank you. You have to stay in the house for, like, you can't turn around and sell it a year later. Yes.
Yeah.
You have to be in the
Just
house
make
for
sure
a
you
number
ask
of
your lender
years.
that question. Whatever down payment assistance program you're trying to get into, like, do I have to pay it back if I don't, how long do I have to be in this house in order for me to not have to pay it back, right? That grant money. But
Right.
yes.
Yep. Yeah. So as long as you're in there for a period of time. Clark was answering Cindy's question about not having a mortgage since 2000. He's saying yes, she would be considered a first-time buyer.
I figured
It's
as much.
3 years. Wow. As long as you had ownership in the last
I knew
3
it was
years.
shorter.
See, look at that. Here I'm like, I think it's 10 because I know I just had this before. Somebody had, I saw that somewhere.
I want to say that they changed it because remember in 08 when people lost houses and that type of thing, they may have changed to 3 because if you're in an apartment right now, you used to own a home, you had to go into the apartment because your house got foreclosed on.
Yeah.
3 years later, you could be considered a first-time home buyer again.
Got it. That's why. Okay.
I think that's why that they.
There you go. So Cosmic says here is responding to Encore, just sold in DFW, got 10K over asking and 2 offers in 24 hours. Great area, but way too many people coming in. Oh, still getting.
Wow. I wonder what the price point was on that.
Yeah.
What was his name? Mojo. I just saw Mojo at the end.
Yeah, Cosmic Mojo.
Yeah, Mojo. Gotcha.
All right, I have here is it a good time to buy in Poconos, PA?
Yeah,
the Poconos, PA. Listen, it's always a good time to buy if your situation is where it needs to be as far as your financials, your down payment, you have money saved. If everything's in line and you're ready to make that purchase and you need to make that purchase,
do it.
Then it's a good time.
Yeah.
Then it's a good time. I can't tell you, and I will not tell you. I'm not going to be that real estate agent that's going to tell you, buy now. It's a good time to get into real estate. No. If you can do it, if you can swing it, and this is the right time for you, then you can do it. Then do it. Buy. So anyway, so here we go. Are buying points to lower interest rate a good idea? Depends. It totally depends because half a point, is it half a point? It's like 1 month payment or something like that. Or is it 1 point, 1 month payment?
There's a spreadsheet. There's a balance. If you talk to your lender, they'll be able to tell you how many years it's going to take you to repay that interest back.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you. So glad you're here, Rebecca. Appreciate it. Oh, Emo, thank you. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Thank you. I'll try. I try every week. Just want to give you guys good information. What are the chances a buyer's agent decides to offer the same property to a different buyer with deeper pockets since the prices are out of control? Now, look, so you're saying, say the agent's working with you and they're working with somebody else, right? They're working with 2 different buyers. They're going to offer on the same property. It happens, I mean, we're all working with a lot of buyers right now. So those chances are very high that that's going to happen. And unfortunately, there will be cases where the one buyer is going to be in a better position financially to be able to throw money at it and say, hey, they'll pay however much over asking, away with the appraisal and all the things. So, I mean, yeah, that's a risk. It does happen. So that's my answer for that.
It's the harsh reality.
It is a harsh reality. Okay. The taxes are high in Poconos. I would stay away from Tobyhanna, quarter acre land for a home, and the hood from the Bronx and Brooklyn have moved to Tobyhanna. Do your research. Okay. Thanks for that update. So,
but if the taxes are high, I bet the values are lower because usually that's the result.
Exactly.
That's the connection. I did a whole bunch of research. I looked at all these different cities in Texas, and like the city with the highest tax rate was like the lowest priced. And it's the city with the lowest tax rate had really, really $1 million properties in it. So, I mean,
Yep.
It's a balance. I mean, you have to figure out your numbers. But yeah, I mean, taxes is something I would look at, but it shouldn't be like the only number that you look at.
Exactly. So Clark's just telling us the only reason that was fresh in his head because his mom sold her house and wanted to use an FHA, but couldn't get the first-time home buyer incentive because she owned a home in the last 3 years. Thanks for clarifying that, Clark. So glad you're here.
Yeah.
All right, this was good stuff. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. But this was it's a great conversation tonight, Rebecca.
I know.
As always. I mean, love having you on. Oh, wait, somebody else had a question really quick. Not all banks offer bridge loans. Can you recommend a specific lender? It's true. A lot of banks won't do the bridge loans anymore. I know the lenders I deal with, they don't.
Yep.
So
it's a lender for sure. You got to
yeah.
And then shop, you got to shop multiple.
You're going to have to, I feel bad. I don't know anybody offhand that would handle that. So you might want to Google or just call around to different banks in your area to see if, they do bridge loans.
I wonder if any credit unions would offer, because they're a little bit more, or local banks, sometimes they'll have a little bit more flexibility.
That's true.
I don't know if they would be able to do that. I know that if you're looking to finance land, that a lot of your local banks or your credit unions might be able to help with that too.
Yep. Okay. All right. So Rebecca, we're over an hour right now, and it's been wonderful having you. So I just want to share with everybody, if you are looking to go to Dallas, you're looking to move to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, please check out Rebecca's channel. Welcome to Dallas with Rebecca Valera. She's got great stuff on here. And definitely contact her if you need an agent. She is absolutely fantastic. I have referred business to her, and she's awesome. Just saying, Rebecca. Just want to show the love.
You're awesome too, Jackie. So
hey, we got to help each other out.
Too much awesomeness in this room.
There's so much awesomeness. It's like so great. And if anybody needs a referral to anywhere in the United States, or if you're looking to move here to New Jersey, if you're looking in the Northern New Jersey area, I am so happy to help you out. But if you are looking to move anywhere, I'm connected with a lot of agents like Rebecca. So go to my website right here, and there's a form down on the bottom. Please fill that out. Do me a favor in the message. Could you let me know if you're pre-approved, what your price point is, if you have an idea of your price point, when you're putting in, I want to move to so-and-so place, and, this is I'm pre-approved, this is how much. Yeah. If you're not pre-approved, that's okay. Let me know that. Yeah. Because I might be able to have a connection. I can get a lender, get you hooked up with a lender, and you can talk to them, and we'll get you pre-approved. So I'm so excited. This is awesome. This is so awesome. And I appreciate everybody being here tonight. The conversation was fantastic as always. And Rebecca, please come back again. It's always a good time. So, yeah. All right. So since we missed you, I didn't have the music when you came on and you started dancing without music. Let's just close it out. Okay? All right. See everybody next Monday. Have a great week. Be kind, be nice, and don't let the real estate stuff get you down. Life is good. All right. Peace out. Bye.